Hello and welcome to Motion Picture Recaps. Today, I'll take you through a 1980s sci-fi, mystery, drama and film called The Terminator. Over a post-apocalyptic battlefield in 2029, robotic combat machines, where some resembling tanks, others hovercraft, dominate the ruins of Los Angeles. According to the title card, humanity will fight the machines for a very long time in the future. At 1:34 in the morning on May 12, 1984, the year was changed to Los Angeles. Lightning strikes a garbage truck overhead at the city overlooking Griffith Park Observatory, taking out the electricity. The driver notices a man who is quite strong and nude. Three teenage punks see the T-800 when he gets up and moves toward the city. The punks ask him a series of insulting questions, to which the T-800 responds indifferently numerous times before telling the men to give him their clothing. Forced through the portal and landing in the alley, a guy with visible anguish is a strong, bare, scarred man who is smaller than the other man who arrived in a similar manner. Kyle Reese grabs the man's pants, and when a police cruiser approaches, two officers tell him to stop. After managing to conceal himself, Reese tackles a police officer, seizing his weapon and making him reveal the year and date. The inquiry from Reese perplexes the police officer. Reese dashes into a retail shop as the police partner arrives. He makes off with a number of stolen goods, including a long coat and a pair of Nike sneakers, before leaving the business. He robs a shotgun from an abandoned police cruiser in another alley outside. He locates a phone book nearby and searches for Sarah Connor. A young woman named Sarah Connor works as a lonely waitress somewhere else. Sarah lives with her buddy Ginger in an apartment. Her life is dull and seems to be going nowhere. After robbing a car, the T-800 visits a nearby sporting goods store and asks the proprietor to show him a number of assault rifles and a laser-sighted handgun. When he adamantly requests a phased plasma rifle, the proprietor responds, "Only what you see, buddy." The proprietor informs his client that there is a waiting time for the handgun, but that he may immediately take the rifles. The guy shoots the clerk and nonchalantly loads the shotgun while explaining the procedure. Subsequently, the man comes upon a phone book and searches for the name Sarah Connor, discovering 3 listings in the Los Angeles region. He goes to the location shown on the first listing. A tiny dog growls at him as he approaches the front door. The guy pushes his way inside and shoots Sarah Connor with the handgun he stole as she opens the door and says her name. Shortly after, while working at the restaurant, Sarah's coworker draws her to the TV, where she witnesses a news story about a lady with the same name being killed by an unnamed attacker. That night, Sarah gets ready for separate dates with Ginger, her roommate. Ginger's boyfriend, Matt, will be coming over to stay the night. After sending Sarah a message, her date decides to cancel. When Sarah makes the decision to go get pizza, she notices a different news story in which the police report the death of a different lady who had her name. Sarah runs inside a little dance club called Tech Noir out of concern that she is being followed. She attempts to contact Ginger, but while they are having sex, Ginger and Matt cannot hear the call. Shortly after Sarah calls, the assassin assaults Ginger and Matt, killing them both, and then listens to Sarah's voicemail on their answering machine, which contains her location. Sarah then makes a call to the police, where she is put through to Sergeant Vukovich and Lieutenant Ed Traxler, who are the investigators looking into the deaths of Sarah Connor. Sarah is told to wait for a squad vehicle by Traxler, so she should stay still. Once entering the club, the murderer kills a bouncer and disappears into the throng. Meanwhile, Reese has also made his way into the dance club. At last, the T-800 notices Sarah and points its laser-sighted weapon at her. Reese opens fire on the T-800, sending him to the ground after many explosions. Sarah witnesses the T-800 seemingly get up and start shooting at Reese with the stolen firearms. He moves closer to Sarah once more, blasting her from behind so that her body pins her to the ground. Reese reappears and fires 4 more shotgun shots at the T-800, forcing him out the front window of the club and into the street as the murderer moves in to kill her. "Come with me if you want to live," he says to Sarah as the T-800 rearranges itself and pushes them out the back of the club. The T-800 is pursuing Reese and Sarah as they flee via an alleyway behind the club. He appears to be a robot of some sort, as seen from the T-800's point of view, and he observes them using a computerized version of night vision. When Reese blows up a nearby car's gas tank, it blows up. Unfazed, the T-800 leaps onto Reese's car's hood, punching its fist through the windshield and trying to grab Sarah. Reese shifts into reverse and launches the T-800. While the T-800 subdues a police officer and seizes his squad car, Reese races off. During the chase, the T-800 listens closely to the police reports on the car's radio and responds in the cop's voice. In the heat of the moment, Reese frantically claims to be a sergeant with a serial number, explaining that Sarah has been targeted for termination and that the assailant is actually a machine known as a T-800, a metallic combat chassis that has been covered in living human tissue to give it the appearance of a human. Sarah, taken aback, screams for assistance and bites Reese on the hand. He warns her not to repeat the action. They discover another unlocked automobile in the parking garage and leave T-800 behind. When Sarah applies the brakes, the T-800 careens into a wall. Reese is about to fire at the approaching police when Sarah intervenes, warning that they would murder him. She discovers that the T-800 has left the scene after she and Reese are taken into custody. Sarah finds out that Ginger has passed away and that Dr. Peter Silberman, a criminal psychiatrist, has been given custody of Reese at Traxler's police precinct. His T-800 narrative is dismissed as the babble of a man suffering from severe delusions. Silberman excitedly remarks that a case similar to Reese's may be career-making as he watches the interview film. Reese responds that only live stuff will pass through the time vortex when Silberman questions him about why he didn't bring weapons from the future with him during the conversation. Reese loses his cool fast and starts screaming into the camera, demanding that the T-800 be destroyed or else it would keep going until it killed Sarah. The T-800 retreats to a makeshift hotel room, where it makes its home. One of its eyeballs that was injured by Reese's bullet was removed. There is a highly developed robotic red glowing eye beneath the human eye. It puts on some sunglasses, gets dressed up, and marches outside to continue looking for Sarah while bringing along an AR-18 automatic rifle and a pump-action shotgun. As Dr. Silberman is exiting the police precinct, the T-800 pulls into the foyer and demands to see Sarah. The T-800 is denied entry by the desk sergeant. The T-800 gives the desk sergeant a frightening glance before turning around and saying, "I'll be back." After stepping outside, the T-800 collides with a vehicle via the front door a minute later. It shoots every cop in its path as it relentlessly marches through the precinct. After tearing off a main circuit cable, the T-800 reaches a circuit panel and jams the live wire into the fuse box, causing an electrical surge that destroys all of the building's lights and puts the police officers in a dangerous position. Reese breaks out of captivity during the fight, and Traxler and Vukovich are struck by gunfire. After locating Sarah, he helps her leave the precinct. Sarah finds out that Kyle's account is accurate while camped out in a sewage tunnel. Reese continues to enlighten her on the future, in which people struggle to live amidst the ruins of cities and the T-800's predatory behavior. Hunter-killers, or HKs, were Skynet's first vehicles. They were designed to locate and eliminate people using infrared technology. Kyle says that the Resistance was able to beat them because of John Connor's strategic ability. Later, infiltrators similar to the one he and Sarah are escaping from, the new T-800, emerged and started to locate secret bunkers where people had taken refuge. As Sarah falls asleep, she dreams of a conflict in which T-800 breaches a human sanctuary and slaughters a large number of humans. There's Kyle himself. He pulls out a Polaroid picture of Sarah and looks at it, having found a spot to relax during a Resistance patrol. Reese enters the heroic battle to eliminate a T-800 that has gained entry after being alerted by dogs at the bunker's entrance. With its massive plasma rifle, the T-800 kills all the enemies and debilitates Reese with an explosion. Nearby, Reese notices the photo of Sarah being destroyed. In the meantime, the T-800 has returned to its shady hotel room refuge, where it is pursuing an address book that he stole from Ginger and Sarah's apartment. Among the names on the list is Sarah's mother, who resides upstate. The T-800 exits its room, mounts a stolen motorbike, and rides off after angrily dismissing the hotel owner. Afterwards, when they arrive at a wayside hotel, Reese starts shopping for the ingredients required to build explosives. Sarah calls her mother while he is out shopping, giving her the location and her phone number. Unaware that the T-800 is on the other end of the line, he imitates her mother's voice. Reese comes to the hotel with a bag full of oddly matched products, such as corn syrup and ammonia. Together, Sarah and Reese construct a stash of pipe bombs packed with plastique, a substance that Reese had mastered and had demonstrated to Sarah how to produce, while also demonstrating the careful method needed to make the explosives. Sarah is touched when Reese tells her that he has never had a girlfriend in response to her question about his past relationships. Then Reese talks about how he has a picture of Sarah and how he fell in love with her. He starts frantically packing explosives after realizing he has gone too far, but Sarah stops him and gives him a kiss. The two engage in sexual activity without inhibitions. John is born to Sarah as a consequence of their consummation. That night, the T-800 follows them to the hotel, where they make their second escape in a pilfered pickup truck after the tenant's dog starts barking at the oncoming T-800. Reese tries heroically to blow up the T-800 with the pipe bombs he and Sarah built as they speed down a vast highway, but he gets struck by gunfire. After Sarah successfully knocks the T-800 off its motorbike, her vehicle overturns. After the T-800 gets back up, a semi-truck hits it and drags it a short way. Following his halt, the truck driver is killed by the T-800, which then seizes control of the vehicle, yelling at his colleague to get out, and making an effort to run Sarah over. Before the T-800 destroys their damaged truck, Sarah manages to free Kyle from it. Kyle plants a second pipe bomb near a factory, setting off the truck's tank trailer, which bursts into flames. The T-800 appears from the debris, its flesh entirely burned off, as Reese and Sarah hug. Reese and Sarah withdraw inside the automated factory. Reese turns on as many of the computers as he can, which makes the T-800's tracking more challenging. While tending to her critically damaged leg, Sarah searches for Reese, but he has passed away. Suddenly, the upper portion of the T-800 skeleton attacks her. After a frantic crawl, she manages to lure the T-800 into an enormous hydraulic press. She holds it there and presses the button to start the press as it clumsily tries to shatter her neck. Crushed until the red flashing eye of the T-800 disappeared. While being transported in an ambulance, Sarah witnesses the paramedics placing Kyle in a body bag. Afterwards, she is seen stopping at a petrol station while driving a jeep through the desert, perhaps in the direction of Mexico, with a big dog in the passenger seat. She has been using a cassette player to record her voice. The tapes are for her kid, and she is more obviously pregnant with John Connor. She queries, among other things, whether or not John would be influenced to send the warrior back in time to meet and rescue Sarah if she informed him that Reese was his father. A little child uses a Polaroid camera to capture her photograph while the jeep is filling up with gas. After haggling over the price with the boy, she decides to buy it. When Sarah notices the storm coming, she takes it out into the distance. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications so you can watch more video like this.